We are on the way to Hawks Pond, but thought I would take the shaded route today. It's going to be warm enough out there in the open, so take advantage of the cool of this cedar bottoms on this old trail that I think at one time it connected the guy to our north, 1950, the guy living there and a guy living in my cabin, and I think this was the lane they used to stop in and visit each other. It must have been a lot drier back then because you wouldn't be driving through here in the summertime, but then again, the man in the north didn't have a vehicle. The story I've been told, he had the team. The guy in my cabin had the car, so no matter what, they could always get to town if the liquid refreshments ran out. And odd the way it works out. I've trimmed a little bit of stuff off this trail, but otherwise this road up through here has been here for 70 years, not being used, but still stays open with just a little bit of trimming. Too shaded for anything to grow up too much in the center of the trail, so makes a real nice low maintenance route. As I recall, way back on video number 5 of this cabin series, I was sitting out here and talking about how this is a wildlife opening that I've been working on and developing over the years, and now it's coming along nicely. There's some browse, a little bit of willow I might cut out, but it might look kind of messy or whatever, but there's food here for some of the different wildlife to chew down on it. When these white cedars start getting that big, that's when the deer will start to eat them. They don't seem to like to eat them when things are down low to the ground. I've never been told why that is, but it must not taste very good at all if they won't eat it in the deep throes of winter. This trail we're on runs parallel to my main route out to Hawks Pond, and as we look through here, I can zoom in here, all the way over there, a few hundred yards away, is the throne, that nice high bench seat that sits over there. The main trail runs right by it, but we're down here because between here and there, when the beavers dam this area up, the water's too deep to get through. So years ago I cut this auxiliary trail over here. As I walk these trails, I don't always see anything myself, but I know the animals are out there. Now in this case, I left that camper there when I left and went home last winter. I didn't get back last spring, so we're just looking at these images now, but this bobcat was right below the throne seat out there. Just a beautiful specimen of a cat out walking in the bright sunlight, and he allowed us to get this picture because so many times they're lurking around, but it's oftentimes at night. But as many of these bobcat shots as I get, I'm very impressed with the high number of bobcat that must be lingering in those woods, hunting for the snowshoe hares and such things as that. That bobcat looked so healthy and just full, but his hair was all, winter coat. Now this one comes walking along in the summer coat, and it's like, my goodness sakes, it's hungry. Then you get a really healthy bobcat like this one, and I can see why people get them confused sometimes with cougars. I mean, look at that head and his body. If we weren't seeing those spots and stripes on there and the little bobtail, we could easily have this one mistaken for a cougar. Makes for a nice alternate walk. A little different look to it than over there where I got it cleared out wider and more open. Got a little wilder aspect to it down here, but yet I keep it trimmed up enough that it's easy enough to get through, because as those beavers do their rotation, they'll have water back in that spot that I'm talking about someday, and I'll be ready because I'll be able to go east and west here and still get over to Hawks Pond without having to have my chest waders or a boat. There's been quite a bit of timber. The old balsam trees, as they die, they fall over and fall on the trail, and they got to be cut off to get through. But once a year with a chainsaw, cut 4 or 5 every time. But probably getting ahead of it now. Birch trees are a little stronger, it seems like. But the beavers get up in here again, they'll have those cut down. Well, the two trails are about ready to converge. Now, that's what we're looking at here. This is a little connector trail that runs over there 40 yards and picks up the other trail. That'll end up here on the beaver dam, is where the two will come together. And that's the whole goal of this south trail. The back trail down here is to get to that beaver dam, elevate you high enough that you can get across to the next piece of high ground. We come around this last tree and we walk right up on the dam that I was mowing on this morning. Oh, I can't tell you how much easier this is to walk, having dragged that lawnmower over the top of this. Otherwise, it's only about 8 to 15 inches wide, and trying to walk through grass and not knowing if you're going to come down in a hole or off the side of the trail. This is much more enjoyable. People wonder why I do this, but you have no idea how many times I'll walk this trail this fall, and then again next spring. Through the winter we're down on a ski track down there on top of the ice, but spring and fall, this is the way to go. Always nice to stop and ponder how the early folks back here withstood all the rigors, cold in the winter in basically a plank cabin. Sure, that stove put out some good heat, but you would have had to pour a lot of wood through it. And then back in here now, these are all foot trails, and so when I come across my old car body, kind of just adds to the mystery. I've been checking my lens a couple times to see if it was fogged up or something. Then I remember the weatherman this morning was talking about the smoke. Apparently there's enough of fires up in northern Manitoba, and the way the conditions were the last couple days, that smoke has come down here enough that you can just kind of see it there in the background. I can't smell it, but at least I know my camera lens isn't dirty and I realize what's going on. Normally I'd stop for a break here, but the bench at Hawks Pond's only another 300 meters to the north, so I think I'll head up there and get my gear out, and that's where the brush saw is sitting, so I got to sharpen that up, and we'll just kind of do a little work, a little hanging around back here today. Been very quiet this year out here on Hawks Pond. I haven't seen any trumpeter swans when I've been over here. I did have one fly over my head the other night as I worked on the trail between here and the cabin. That's the only trumpet I heard so far. The old beaver that was here, I think he's probably to the west on the same drainage that the springs come down through. I think if I wanted to bushwhack up there, I'd find where he's holed up for the winter. It works really well for me as I'm over here working with a saw. There's my Echo brush saw there on the bench at Hawks Pond. And when I was over here working, and instead of hauling all the way back to the cabin and bringing it back halfway again to do some work, I just leave it and stage it. I got some fuel in my pack here now. I'll sharpen it up and I'll go on and clear some more trail. I want to get over to about where that big throne stand is, and I'll probably stage it there for the next little operation. I got some stuff I need to get cleaned up in that area, so just a little bit at a time, a little play, a little work, and it all comes together. An unbelievable day for October 4th, Canadian border, Hawks Pond. I can't resist this. Kids and water. What can I say?